let me show you 5 different ways to find products to sell. And for this example, I'm gonna use my love for dogs as a starting point. So if I wanted to find good dog products to sell, the first strategy I could use is by going directly to Amazon and using the category tree method. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is just type in dog supplies. And on this next page, if you look over here under department, these are the categories. So it starts at dog supplies and then it niches down into these ones. But this isn't even half of it. So I'm actually gonna click into dog supplies to see a much bigger category tree here. So from here, what I'd recommend doing is going through all these sub niches now and trying to find an interesting product to sell. So I'm just gonna do dog housebreaking supplies as an example, and then keep niching down to the lowest level. And so dog diapers and potty training sounds interesting. And let's just go with dog diapers here. So now we're at the bottom of the category tree and we can start to see what some of these products are, skipping over these sponsored product ads. So this first one here looks like a 3-pack of dog diapers. And then you see a bunch of different dog diapers here. Cool. So this is our product idea that we'll eventually start looking at in more detail later on. But just to start to see how much these sellers are making each month, I actually want to click into the listing and then scroll down here to the bottom. And we're trying to find this best sellers rank at the top here. So about 3,065. So to find out how much it's selling each month, so just go to Google, type in Jungle Scout free Amazon sales estimator, copy in that bestseller rank here, the marketplace you're selling in, and the category, which is for us, pet supplies. And now when you estimate sales, this product is selling almost 3,000 units each month. But that's just on this one product. You wanna go back to the search results and do that for at least 10 products or even all the products on page 1. Now this could be a really cool idea, but before you start analyzing the data, you do wanna have something to compare it to. So this is why I'd actually recommend creating a list of at least 5 to 10 product ideas. And if you want, feel free to follow along with me as we find product number 2, this time using another Amazon method, and we're actually gonna use the new releases pages here. So to keep this up here, I'm just gonna duplicate the page and head over to the new releases tab. So this is gonna show a bunch of products on Amazon in each category where new products are being added and they're selling very well. So you have this category tree over here as well. And I'm gonna just find our pet supplies category. I'm gonna go down into the dog category. And so we have a bunch of other different ones here. Let's go training and behavior aids. Let's go, there's agility equipment at the top there. And I could keep going down more, but I see there's just 3 categories. So let's look now at these top products. I see a dog step, a dog step, a dog step, a bunch of dog steps, okay. A treadmill, oh my gosh. Okay, so dog steps. I want to look into that idea a little bit more. So I'm just going to type it into the search bar so we see just dog steps in there. Now, I'm not going to go through the sales estimator again on this product. We'll do that in a better and more efficient way later. But one little trick I like to do when you're thinking of product ideas and you're trying to stay organized is to use Google tabs, if you're using the Google browser, of course. So just double clicking up here, add it to a group. What are we calling this? Dog steps, and then green. And then this one was dog diapers. So I'm actually just gonna type in dog diapers to see just dog diapers there. Add it to a group, dog diapers, blue. And that way you can actually like close these up and get all your ideas really organized. Okay, so we have 2 ideas. Now let me show you another way of coming up with ideas, but this time we're gonna go outside of Amazon. And this one's really fun because we're gonna use ChatGPT and ask it for some help. So I'm gonna type that in here and paste the prompt I already have. And this prompt essentially is asking Chat to give me a list of dog products that are usually above $25, are small and lightweight, easy to manufacture, and we don't want to sell anything that's a food or electronic item and nothing that's easily breakable here. So let's go through what it's given us back now. Okay, so we have 10 ideas here that we can now start looking into, but I'm actually gonna ask it, I like dog beds as an example. What are some different types of dog beds? Okay, so it's giving me a list of the different types of dog beds. And I think this is really powerful because essentially these are probably niches on Amazon. And I can see like, obviously you have a standard dog bed, orthopedic dog bed. I would have never thought of that. I've seen elevated dog beds before, heated cooling, cave or hooded dog beds. That's piquing my interest here. So I actually want to type that into Amazon and see what comes up. So let's go type it in here. And usually when you add a space after your keyword, you'll see a bunch of other product niches in this list here. So dog beds with hooded blanket. That's interesting. I actually want to type that in here. And okay, cool. There are products out there that are a dog bed with a hooded blanket over top of it. And yes, so there's more than one product. This is definitely a niche on Amazon. So I'm not going to waste too much time on this. So let's get to product number 4, but I'm going to go ahead and save this to a group. What are we calling this? Dog beds with blanket? Okay. Okay, so we're 3 products in, and now we just need 2 more before we can start comparing. So for this next one, I'm gonna show you how to find the best-selling products using the data-driven approach first. Again, this is when you rely on data from advanced product research tools to help you find products that meet your exact criteria. In our other videos, we've talked about finding products that meet each of these 6 factors here. Well, with tools like Jungle Scout, you can use advanced filters to sort through every product on Amazon to easily discover just the best ideas. It really helps remove the guesswork from product research by giving you access to every product's estimated sales, cost, profits, and much more. And don't worry, you don't need to have access to a tool like this in order to learn the strategies I'm now about to teach you. But if you are interested, we'll go ahead and put a link for you down in the pinned comment below. So the tool I'm going to be using here is called the product database. Essentially, every single product that's on Amazon is loaded in here. We just need to now add some filters to isolate the best ones to sell. So we'll start with the first and most important factor, which is high demand. At Jungle Scout, we like to define high demand products as those that maintain a consistent sales volume of over 10 sales per day or 300 sales per month. So in this tool, we actually have a filter for minimum and maximum sales. Only want to find products that sell on average of 300 units every single month. So I'll go ahead and put that here as the minimum. And then we're selling in the United States, but if you were selling in other countries, you'd want to make sure you select that marketplace so that you're looking at that specific data. Now, the reason I say this is the most important factor is because it's really the only one on this list that you as a seller cannot directly influence. While it is possible to sell in a less competitive niche, and it's even possible to lower your cost and become more profitable, what's not possible is creating demand where it doesn't already exist. So for each product idea you're thinking about selling, you need to be able to confidently answer this one question. Are customers consistently searching for and purchasing this type of product? And even if you're not going to be selling your products on Amazon, you can still use this data to figure out the level of demand for your product. Because if a product is selling well on Amazon, it's probably selling well on other marketplaces too. Okay, now let's talk about factor number 2, brand agnostic. This is the type of customer you want purchasing your product. In a nutshell, as opposed to brand loyal consumers, brand agnostic consumers are less interested in buying from a brand just because of their reputation. And instead, their purchases are more motivated based on the objective factors related to the product itself, like price, features, and innovation. Here's a really good example of this. I need to take my shoe off for it. If you're gonna be buying running shoes on Amazon, you're probably only looking at the major brands like Nike or even Adidas, New Balances, or some of those other major brands, right? But on the other hand, quite literally the other hand, if you were just looking to buy a protective case for your AirPods, you're probably just looking to find something that's pretty cool. And yes, before you ask and run to the comments and make fun of me, I love the color purple. So what this means for new sellers is that you want to try to target categories where consumers are not solely purchasing from the top established brands, but are instead open to buying products from lesser known brands like yours. Now in the past, we actually used to call this factor low competition. However, we feel it's really important to evolve this strategy because in the past few years, it's becoming almost impossible now to find these low competition categories that are also in high demand. This is primarily due to the fact that more people are selling on Amazon, which has led to an increased competition in almost every major category, even the small ones. This means that even the niche categories that were once considered low competition are now saturated with really large brands, which makes it extremely difficult for new sellers to gain any traction. This is why new sellers need to pivot and target categories that are easier to break into. Now there's a whole bunch of different data points that you want to look into, but when it comes to product research, here are a few ways to help isolate those brand agnostic categories. So I'm actually going to use this maximum review filter here instead of maximum of 250 reviews. Now the reasoning behind this is to help you find products that are selling hundreds of units each month, despite only having a relatively low amount of reviews, which most likely means the product is sold by either an unknown brand or is pretty new to the market. And that's exactly what you want to see. new products sold by unknown brands that are doing extremely well, especially in the first year or two. Which actually brings us to the second filter we can use here, and this is the date first available filter. And what I like to do now is select either the last 24 months or 12 months, so the last 2 or 1 years. Sometimes I'll start at 2 years and then narrow it down to 12, but I'm just gonna save some time here and pick the last 12 months. So now what we're basically trying to find is products that were just launched in the past year that are selling 300 units each month, despite only having 250 reviews. So another way that we can do this is to exclude top brands. Essentially, it's gonna get rid of your brands like Nike, Adidas, and those really, really large brands. But then also what I like to do is come up here to the seller type. So there are 3 different types of sellers. There's Amazon, so you're just competing directly with Amazon, or FBA or FBM, which are third-party sellers like yourself that are sending in products to a fulfillment center, and they're essentially smaller sellers most likely. So I like to weed out Amazon. You don't want to compete with Amazon, and select FBA and FBM only. With filters in place now for high demand and brand agnostic, let's now move on to factor number 3, which is high profitability. On Amazon, you want to ensure that after all your expenses, that you're still taking home a healthy net profit. A lot of people make the same mistake of selling products with low profitability, and the minute Amazon either increases their fees or your shipping costs go up, their products end up failing. And we're gonna make sure that you don't make that same common mistake here. So as a general rule of thumb, you wanna aim to sell products between $25 and $75. And the reason behind that is because anything under $25, the profit margins are usually very slim, and anything above $75, it's really hard to convince shoppers to buy from a brand that they're not familiar with and make an impulse buy. So we can actually set those filters here, minimum price 25, maximum price 75, and go ahead and feel free to play around with that. You can do $20 minimum, $30 minimum, or even increase the max as well. All right, now factor number 4 is improvement potential. So a few years ago, you could basically just throw any random product on Amazon and get sales. But today, it's a little more complicated than that. Because new sellers are joining every single day, it's more important than ever to not just find a generic product and slap your logo on it, but instead, you want to do everything you can to stand out and grab the customer's attention. And by far the best way of doing that is truly creating a product that is better than your competition. Making just one small improvement can really help increase your chances of breaking into a market, even if the competition is fierce. So to help you find products that customers are just begging to be improved, you can actually utilize this star rating filter. And this is the rating that every product on Amazon has on a scale of 1 to 5. So for this, I suggest setting the maximum rating to at least a 4 here. And basically that will help eliminate all the products with a 4+ or even a perfect 5-star rating. And so what this will do is just make it easier to find products that are selling hundreds of units each month despite having negative reviews. And surely if a product has a few negative reviews, then there must be some room for improvement there. All right, now factor number 5 is ease to sell. Especially if this is your first product, it's best to sell something that isn't going to give you too many headaches. Ideally, you want to find a product that is easy for a factory to make and for you to sell. These are products that aren't easily breakable, aren't a food, clothing, or electronic item, and are also products that are small and lightweight, just like we did in the ChatGPT example earlier. And just a note on the product being small and lightweight, this is really important because not only will shipping and storage be less expensive for you, but Amazon will actually charge you less in their FBA fees. So to avoid oversized products, you can actually come up here to the product tier section and select standard products only. And a really good way of thinking about this is a standard product is a product that can fit into a normal shoebox. An oversized would be something above 20 pounds or in a lot bigger box. All right, now another quick thing that you can do here is to help eliminate products that are either too hard to make or easily breakable. You can come over here to the categories and select all of the categories except for the ones that I have unchecked here. Now, I'm not saying that you can't sell in these categories, but these are the ones that are typically causing new sellers the most headaches. So factor number 6 now is no legal or liability issues. Now there's not a filter for this one, but it is one of the most important factors you can't ignore. When analyzing any product idea, you need to double check that it doesn't infringe on any existing patents or trademarks. For example, it is okay to sell a generic travel mug like this, but it's not okay to sell this specific one that's designed and patented by the company Yeti. Also, make sure to cross off any products that you can see as being a potential liability. This means you could be sued if something were to go tragically wrong with a product, like a child's car seat, for example. And hey, real quick, if you're getting any value from this video so far, let us know by hitting the like button down below. Okay, now to recap, all of these filters here are set to help you discover only products that are in high demand, target brand agnostic customers, are highly profitable, can be improved, and are going to be a lot easier to sell in. But keep in mind, you don't always need to utilize these filters at once. In fact, I'd encourage you to play around and see what different results you get by setting different parameters. And you can even come up here and load filter sets from the ones that we've created for you. Or if you like, you can actually just save the ones that you've created yourself. Now that you know what makes a good product, at this point, you can click search, and really the process from here is to just go through these products. You can hover over the image and try to find things that are interesting. You wouldn't want to sell, in this case, some vitamins or anything. It's just gonna be really hard to sell, or any beauty products like that. But also, so there's 412 products here. But what I like to do now is incorporate my interest here. So you can come up here to the included keywords section and add in, I'm gonna add in dog, of course, but you would add in your own interest or hobby. And with all the parameters we set here, so new products in the past year that are selling really strongly and are in a price range, about 15 different products. And cool, so we see a bunch of different dog products here. That is hilarious. Not sure what that is. Food storage, cool. And I'm just gonna pick one here. We know that they all meet our criteria. So let's see here, what would be an interesting one? A recovery suit. Okay, so I'm just gonna click this icon here, which will bring us to a search results, or I'm sorry, to that product exactly. And I'm just gonna go ahead and copy and paste recovery suit for dog into the search bar, and then add that as our fourth idea here. Okay, so our fifth and final product now, I'm gonna show you how to find trending products. So capitalizing on growing trends is a really smart way to make money selling products online, especially if you can catch it at its onset. But how do you even find out what's trending? Well, if you're active on social media, especially on apps like TikTok, for example, you can get a really good idea of what products people are talking about. What categories do people love? What are some new items that consumers are raving about? This is a really helpful way to harvest new ideas, but also you want to make sure that you're not selling something that's just seasonal or that's a fad. But first, let me show you how to find really good products that are trending by using the Opportunity Finder. So this is another tool within Jungle Scout, and instead of showing you product ideas, this time it's going to display individual product niches, or essentially keyword phrases. So from here, I'm just going to select dog supplies. I want to sell something in that category. Average monthly units sold, we're going to do 300 again for the demand. And now for our monthly price, 25 to 75. Then we'll come down here and bring seasonality and competition to medium. And then include the word dogs because we're going to find a dog product. And now to find trending products, or I'm also going to exclude top brands, of course. To find trending products, I'm gonna put 1 as the minimum here in the 90-day trend filter. So essentially what this is gonna do is show us products over the past 3 months that are trending upwards by at least 1%. And now at this point, you can go ahead and click search. So okay, we have 22 products here that I can now expand and see a bunch of different metrics for each of the niches. So for dog knee braces, you can see the past 2 years of unit sales, price, and search volume, as well as seasonality. And then just like you would on Amazon, you can actually see the top products here and their individual metrics. So revenue, price, the date it was first available. So that's awesome. And then clicking this icon, again, will bring it up on Amazon, but this time it will actually run the search term for us. So I'm gonna save this idea as our 5th product idea. So you have 5 product ideas. However, right now, these are all just very broad categories. And remember, competition is fierce at the top. So it's really important to find sub-niches that are way less competitive and are more targeted towards a specific consumer. So the next step now is to take each of your ideas and identify all the different sub-niches. And the way I like to do this is by going back over to our search results page. And for this example, I'm gonna do this with the hooded dog beds. So at this point, what I like to do is scroll down to the first organic product, which is this one here. And if you have Jungle Scout, you can actually click this keywords icon, which will run a reverse ASIN search on this product here. And we're doing this to find the top keywords that consumers are typing in on Amazon to buy this type of product, which we can see about 1,500 keywords here. But this is just one product, and this tool can actually hold 10 different products at once. So I'm actually gonna go back to the search results page here, copy the ASINs, and then bring it back up here and just fill this up with 10 different ASINs. So now that I got my 10 ASINs in here, I'm just gonna narrow this down to find the most relevant keywords by selecting pet supplies as the category, because sometimes a competitor or two will have keywords that are coming from outside categories, and we wanna remove those. So the next thing I like to do is find not just the most relevant keywords, but the highest volume keywords. And we can do that in this exact match minimum column. And what I'm gonna do is just put 1,000, but feel free to play around with this, do 500, 200, 5,000. And this is just gonna help us isolate those high volume keywords that are really relevant. So now that we come down here, we'll see Cool, we're working with 70 keywords, which will be a lot easier for us to really digest this information. So at this point here, there's a lot of different things you can do. You can click on a keyword to get keyword insights and see the past 2 years of performance here, which is really helpful. For example, like this product, Squishmallow beds, which if you're familiar with Squishmallow, it's just like a brand. They're exploding. And I assume they just launched a new product on Amazon because this is insane. So this is a good example of a keyword that doesn't typically have more than like 20 or 30 searches each month, but in the last like 2 months, wow, this thing is just blowing up. So that's really helpful. But what I like to do at this point, we're trying to find sub niches, right? I'm actually gonna select that one because the search volume is insane, but I'm gonna go through here now and just find unique ideas. So an example of that is, so here's dog beds for medium dogs, for small dogs. Now I'm not gonna select small dog again because I already have that idea. Human dog bed, that's unique. Orthopedic, I don't need to repeat Squishmallow here. Puppy bed, like I don't need to add that because I understand dog, puppy, so I don't need to do that. Did we have medium before? Yeah, we did have medium, so we're missing large. Once I see large, I'll add it. Cat cave, that could be interesting. I know we're looking for dog products, but cat cave is interesting. Giant dog bed, we already have that. Dog tent, dog bed cover. So I'm just, again, looking for unique ideas here. Essentially sub niches, calming dog bed. Coolaroo, I think, is a brand. You can always, again, search it on Amazon by clicking that icon just to confirm. In this case, it looks like, yeah, Coolaroo is the brand there. So again, just gonna keep going down here and round dog bed and just finding unique sub niches now. Okay, so now at this point, I got a lot of different sub niche ideas. What I'm gonna do is save this to a new keyword list and just call it sub niche list for dog beds and share it with my team and then create an ad. And then before I actually leave this page, I want to save this search. So when I come back in the future, save search, I can just easily revisit it. So dog beds with hooded blanket. Great. Now remember, do this exact same process for your other product ideas as well. And in the end, you should have a huge list of sub niche ideas that you can now start looking into. And basically what you're trying to figure out at this point is which of these ideas hit most, or ideally all 6 of those factors of a good product. However, if you need a little more help finding that winning product, we have an entire product research playlist that will teach you everything you could possibly need to know. So make sure to check out this next playlist. And if you stuck around this far, I wanna say thank you so much for watching today's video, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.